Welcome to the Albert and Billy Show, everyone. With our special guest today, Papa, Mr. Jeff Harmon here.
Celebrity.
I call him Mr. Jeopardy. And we'll talk more about that. We'll be interviewing Mr. Jeff Harmon today on his bid for re-election. And I'm sure the Jeopardy story will come in there. I'll make sure of it.
Anything you want to talk about.
That's right. I like it like that. But we thank you guys for joining us today on a very hot, muggy day, isn't it?
110 heat index.
Wow. I didn't even know that. That's unreal. No wonder we're so hot. Good Lord, that's hot. All right. Before we do the announcements, Papa, if you'll hand me that calendar. As you guys know, Jeff, I accidentally started this tradition.
What's that?
Of birthdays. We do them on the radio, but we never had it on the show. But somebody asked me a few times to say one birthday one week.
And it
took off.
Yeah.
There's not a week goes by now.
You start shout outs, you got to keep shouting.
Exactly, and if I don't, I do get reminded. So we don't want to miss nobody's birthday, so I wish a happy birthday to the following people that had birthdays this past week. On the 6th, it was Amy Agee's birthday. We've had her on the show.
She was one
She
of
was
our
a great
guests.
guest. She was a really good guest. And Toddy Lewis, happy birthday, Toddy. Hers was yesterday.
I know Toddy.
Yeah, I know Toddy. And today we got Carlos Davis and Gina Robertson. Well, Gina Robertson's self now, but Jamie Robertson's daughter.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Happy birthday, Carlos, Gina, Toddy, and Amy. Hope you guys had a great birthday. And I probably said those last week. But just in case, a late birthday to John Paul Thomas and Chase Smith. But I'm pretty sure I did remember.
I believe you did.
If I could throw one in.
Yeah.
My daughter Katie.
When's it?
It was yesterday. She turned 30. That was a big one. Katie Harmon Bolden. And my son Ben Harmon is the 14th. So I'm going to go ahead and get those in.
Yeah. You know what? Hand me that counter, Papa. All right, Ben's down since it's
Ben Harmon on the 14th.
14th. And happy belated birthday, Katie.
Thank you.
Hers was yesterday,
It was
right?
indeed.
All right.
Yes.
So happy birthday to all the names that I mentioned. And yes, if you want your birthday mentioned on here, just let us know and
Let us know.
do our best to get it on there, I promise you. We got a few announcements. Of course, I've always got more than Papa.
I'm the guest on the show.
But it's not too many today, at least. We do have a big country breakfast to tell you about because it's tomorrow morning. It's going to start at 7 a.m. It ends at 10 a.m. This one's at the Veterans Hall, and it's a good one. It is a good one, ain't it?
You'll want to eat all 3 hours.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Jeff, Papa is the slowest one eater you'll ever see in your life. But I've always said he enjoys every bite. Like, you know what I mean? I believe you can stay 3 hours.
Yeah. My bride can
So
do
your
the
wife's
same.
like,
She's going to actually be with me tomorrow morning there. So if you're there, they can sit and talk.
that's exactly. That'd be good right there.
Paula's going to bring my breakfast to me in the morning.
Oh, is she?
She came down the house a while ago and said, I'm going to bring your breakfast in the morning, Papa.
Well, I guess you said, well, you have
I said,
that.
go right ahead.
Not going to hurt your feelings none, is it?
No.
So be sure to go check that out, folks. It is good, like we said. And some of the menu, they got biscuits, gravy, ham, sausage, bacon, scrambled eggs, hash browns. Good Lord, tomatoes, coffee, milk, and orange juice to drink. They ask for a modest donation, of course. Remember, these places are all volunteer, so they need help, and that's why we do this. So give them a good donation. This one is sponsored by Matt Colbert. He was our guest last week.
Yes.
So as you guys know, he's running for Bledsoe County Circuit Court Clerk. So he's sponsoring it, and once again, it's from 7 to 10 a.m. tomorrow. And we got a kids' day camp coming up, Papa, at First Southern.
Yes, we do.
It's for kindergarten through 5th grade, and it's going to be July 18th through the 21st. It'll be from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. each day, breakfast and lunch included. Have they ever done that before? That's
Yes.
good. You know, not all day camps do that.
And we'll have all the wherewithal to furnish those kids whatever they need to have a breakfast and a lunch.
Well, that's good. That's good. I like that. Well, get them down there, folks. They need to come to this. They'll love it. And like I said, you get breakfast and lunch. It's July 18th through the 21st, and it's 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. each day. But if you do have any questions, you can give them a call at 447-2849. I bet you know that by heart, don't you?
I call that number quite often.
Right. Oh, yeah, and this one, my last one for the day. I can't believe it. Usually I have about 10 or more, Jeff. We got a catfish fry out at the Luminary Frostbite Volunteer, keyword volunteer, fire department. So they're doing this for a reason. They need some money. All these volunteer fire departments, they keep operating because of us. You know, we have to help them. That's all of us in the community, you know. That's why they need the money. That's why they have these events, because they are volunteer. It's going to be, though, July the 10th. That's Saturday.
No, that is
That is really throwing me off because of that. I hope I'm telling you the right date. I'm going by what the paper is saying.
Sunday. Okay.
So it'll be Sunday. That's why I'm kind of, but I'm just going by
what time is the meal?
1 to 4, so I guess it's possible.
They're waiting until church is open.
That's true. So, Sunday, July the 10th, this Sunday, 1 to 4 p.m. It'll be at Luminary Fire Department. It's $10 a plate, and they will deliver within the department's district. So you can give them a call for delivery at 533-4215.
Now, you said that they are needing assistance monetarily. That's the reason they're having the breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
But these remote fire departments, all over the county, their presence there makes our insurance as low as it is.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people don't really realize that. They don't.
It makes a huge difference.
It helps me for that fire department to be out there at Luminary.
Absolutely. And like I said, we should support volunteer. I've had a lot of the fire department people thank me when they see me out, you know, for acknowledging that. And it probably doesn't get acknowledged enough, you know.
I'm sure it doesn't. Not many people
they're off on the line for free.
That those fire departments scattered everywhere have anything to do with your insurance payment that you make on your
Oh, I know for a fact that not many people at all know what you just said. I can promise you that. You don't. Do you have this one? Because if you dadgum it, why didn't I get? Well, apparently I do have one more, folks. My bad. Papa's got his big whopping one announcement over there.
That's a good one.
Well, this one is the Red, White, and Blue Bash. Sounds like a good time to me. It's tomorrow. This one is tomorrow, folks, from 6 to 9 p.m. It's going to be at the Bilbrey's Horse Arena.
6 to 9 p.m.?
That's what it says. 6 to 9 p.m.
Well, I didn't think it'd be 6 a.m.
No, not this. Not a celebration, a bash. It says, join us for a Freedom Fest to celebrate this country we love. It's tomorrow, July the 9th, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Bilbrey's Horse Arena, which I apparently have never been to. Is it kind of new?
I don't have a horse.
Well, I didn't know you had to have a horse to know that, but it's at Bilbrey's Horse Arena, and I know it's going to be up the valley for sure. If it's Bilbrey's, that's...
Well, I thought that was Morris up there.
Well, yeah, there's some. There's a few. There's different people up there, Papa.
But is it on Highway?
It is on Highway 127. 47336 Highway 127, and it features the Loose Shoes Duo. The Loose Shoes. I like that name.
That's original.
That is, isn't it? But never mind. Yeah, the Loose Shoes Duo. They're classic rock and patriotic, and speakers to be announced. So, yeah, speakers to be announced.
They have not conferred with me.
They have not. They need to have you up there, don't they? And food is available, it says. Though we'll have food, and if you need more information, call Suzanne Schofield Sapp at 864-404-7355. 05, and that is tomorrow, Red, White, and Blue Bash. Sounds like a good time. All right, Papa.
Tomorrow, no, this will be Sunday at the
really?
Faith Baptist Church. They're having their 30th anniversary.
That's right.
This week in the Bledsonian, it had Brother Doyle's picture.
Oh, okay.
And this is going to be a singing, and the singing is going to be at 10:30 in the morning, and it's called The Family. There's 6 of them, so it's called a sextet. Sextet.
No, I've never heard that.
I believe it is sextet. They're going to be performing, and they are the Hoppers. I don't know anything about them. I never heard of them before.
No, I like the name though.
But there's 3 men and 3 women, so evidently it's all a family because they're.
I bet it is.
But it's at Faith Baptist Church, and Faith Baptist Church is north of here on the old highway.
It sure is. It's in the 9-mile community. Papa.
Old State Highway 28.
Yeah.
And Brother Doyle is the only pastor they've had for 30 years.
I guess so. I never thought about that.
Our pastor's been here for 22 years. The average stay in a Baptist church is 2 years.
In a Baptist church?
The Baptist church, the average stay is 2 years.
I find that strange because they don't have a time. I mean, they can stay as long as they want usually. Now the Methodist church, I know,
does stay as long as the church wants.
Yeah. Well, good point. Good point. I won't open that can of worms, but
some of your denominations are the pastors are sent to the church.
Yeah.
The membership has no say-so about who gets to be their pastor. In Baptist churches, the church votes on whom they
that is
receive
true.
as
That is true.
Correct.
And some churches do though. I don't know what it's like. They stay for. I know it's the Methodist church. I just don't know if I'm right on the time. Like there's a certain amount of years usually.
No, there's not a certain amount of time.
It's
how long the people in the church want that pastor to stay there. They can go to the conference. To the heads and say we would like to have a different pastor.
Well.
And so they shuffle them around and send them to where.
Yeah. Seems like it changes more, but now Greg Smart's been there though for a pretty while.
He's been here a good little while.
Yeah.
Brother Smart and I have done a funeral together.
Oh, have you? Cool.
I did one with a Catholic priest one time.
I didn't know that. The Amazing Life of Elder Roberts.
He didn't convert me over to Catholicism, but nor did I convert him over to Baptist.
There you go. I'm a Baptist myself, and I've always been told that if you have a good preacher, be worried if there's 5 or 6 strangers on the back row on a Sunday. That's somebody's pulpit committee.
Boy, that's true. Isn't it?
I have been on those pulpit committees.
You go scouting.
And I've had a woman to come and get in the pew right in front of me, put her hands on the pew and say, "Get out of here. Leave our pastor alone." Yeah. I've had them say that.
It's true.
I would love to say that.
It's true.
I don't even know what to say to that one.
Listen, we went to one church over in Birchwood one time to hear a preacher preach.
Yeah.
And the people knew that there were 6 of us, strangers.
Yeah, 6 strangers showing up.
That's pretty noticeable.
So they knew that we were a pulpit committee. And we asked to stay and speak to the preacher after church, and he said, well, yes. That preacher, I found out later, was visited by the deacons in that church that afternoon. And they said, evidently you're wanting to leave, so go right now.
Whoa.
Don't set foot back in this pulpit tonight.
Whoa.
That's an extreme reaction.
That's a Baptist church. Forgive me, Brother Jim.
Not all.
Well, I really hope he got the gig then.
No.
Oh, poor guy. Oh my God, I feel sorry for this man.
We had made an agreement between ourselves that we would be 100% for the man that God sent us to. We had one person that voted no. So we had to look.
That's all it takes is one person.
And that man had to move out of that parsonage that weekend, and he moved into his wife's parents' basement until he got into church.
I hope he did at least get that. I hope he did. I really feel sorry for this guy, whoever he is.
The man that gave me, I was chairman of the pulpit committee, the man that gave me that name for me to visit, later he called me to tell me that man got a large church.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
With a radio ministry and the whole,
good.
whole bit.
So thank
God had a plan. You didn't know you were part of it.
Exactly.
Isn't it amazing that God works the way He works?
I know. Well, I was hoping that story would have a happy ending, or it's going to be really depressing.
Well, let me tell you, I felt led that was the man God led us to. I wanted us to get him. I
can't believe
he was
only
crippled.
one vote,
He was crippled, and he got down on his knees in that pulpit and cried and preached his heart out. I thought, this is God's man for us.
Well, what else could he do? I mean, come on.
But one man said, that's not the man God led me to say yes to.
I really didn't know that one person could dictate the committee that way.
Well, we met, and that was the agreement we came to. Mm-hmm. If God can't speak to 7, 6, or 8 men, how can He speak to 150 or 200?
Well, I mean, He'll speak, but sometimes we don't listen. Good counterpoint there, huh?
That's true.
Lawyer turn, that's a good counter.
That's true. Let me tell you, I don't know of anybody that's perfect in First Southern.
No, nobody's perfect.
Including our pastor.
Exactly. No, he's not perfect. Papa's always perfect until that's the first mistake I ever did make, every episode. I've heard you say that so many times. But I'd be a rich man if I had $1 for every time I've heard you say that.
I'll admit, I use it too regularly.
Well, all right. As you guys can see, we have a guest with us today, Mr. Jeff Harmon. And, well, you are the public defender.
I am.
Now, for how many counties is it now? Is it the 6?
Yes.
Like, okay.
The 12th Judicial District has 6 counties. And starting on the north, it is Ray, Bledsoe, Sequatchie, Marion, up on the mountain to Grundy, and on the other side of Montego to Franklin County.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So it's 120 miles long, 2 area codes, 2 courts of appeals. We stay on the road a lot.
Yeah, and campaigning, you would never stop.
I'll sleep August 5th.
There you go.
I've been busy.
You have. I mean, it is a lot of work. That is true. But that in such a large area to cover. But luckily, they do have events constantly in each of the counties, so you do get a chance to see the people and greet them.
Yes, and I'm in court a lot. Through the years, I've tried over 200 jury trials. I've tried jury trials in every courthouse and justice center in this district. Just today, I was over here in juvenile court.
Really?
I've argued cases before the Tennessee Supreme Court. I don't. Cool. That's not to brag, but that's just to say I am not a stay in the office.
Got you. Yeah.
Technically, I'm the boss, but I go to court. That's what I do. I'm a trial lawyer. We have an
not
office.
Everybody in your position would do that, and that's just the truth. That is good.
If my name's going to be on the letterhead, I'm going to get out there and go to court and work. Look, I was raised up cutting pulpwood, slinging hay. I've been a janitor. My dad was a sheetrock man. I worked my way through school doing that.
Yeah, that's hard work.
So all I've ever known is work.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at not working.
Yeah.
I like staying busy. I like dealing with people, and I like what I do.
That makes a difference.
There are days, to be honest with you, you feel like Lucy and Ethel and those chocolates just keep coming at you, but you just keep at it, and you feel like you're trying to drink out of a fire hose, but you just keep, just do it, and then you work through your docket that day. Not every day is as bad as another day. I'm not in court every day.
True.
But
you have an assistant.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a total.
A few, isn't it?
There's actually 8 assistant public defenders to help cover these 6 counties, and we have
that makes sense.
Secretaries, an office manager, and 2 investigators. So it takes a lot of people to cover courts in 6 counties.
Yeah. And
so counting me, it's an office of 15 people that I've been trying my best, and I think I do a decent job of managing. I'm always wanting a good reputation. I grew up in a house, my mom was always, your reputation matters. Yeah. And I've always wanted my reputation in the legal world to be he shows up prepared, on time, and ready to go. And
every time.
Every time. Because all it takes is being late one time or unprepared one time, and that's all people will remember about you.
It takes you a lifetime to build your reputation.
It does indeed.
And a moment to ruin it.
And that's the thing
they're more forgiving about the late, the unprepared.
There you
never let you off the hook for.
Because if I'm unprepared or any of my people are, it's not just us. It's not our reputation. We can repair that. It could affect the client's future.
I know. Let's get care. Yeah.
That's... I don't understand anybody would want this job or run for this job if you don't care about helping people, because
that's a scary thought to me. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of the time you realize I'm the last thing between my client and the penitentiary.
Yeah.
And it may be
it's a big deal.
It may be someone who's falsely accused.
Yes.
Or maybe it's not falsely accused. Or maybe they're guilty of something, but not what they're charged of. The lesser included offense. So I just feel like a poor man deserves a fair shake in court like a man with money.
Let me ask you
That is true. That is true.
Were I to be in need of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
And I could not afford one, is that the reason I get a public defender?
Yes. Just like in the movies or TV, when they read somebody their rights and say, if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you.
That's right.
That's what I am. I'm the default appointed lawyer.
Okay, but there's only one of you that runs?
Correct.
Well,
there's one.
It works for him.
It is an elected position, what I have, but I've always taken pains to not make it a political position.
That's good.
I never let politics come in. It feels wrong that someone might feel like they might get a better or worse shake in court based on how they may vote. Whenever I've hired people through the years, I have never asked anyone how they vote or what party they're on. I try to hire the best person available at the time. A client,
that's fair.
I couldn't care less of whether they're Democrat, Republican, Green Party, Tea Party. It doesn't matter to me. To me, they're my clients, and I'm trying to help them.
I like that.
But for instance, let's say, there was court over here today in General Sessions and Juvenile. If you'd shown up and gone to the podium when they called your name, and the judge, first thing he would ask you, do you have an attorney? And if you said, no, sir, I can't afford one, what he would point to my table, and you would come over, and there's an affidavit you fill out to essentially give a little biographical information, but to show what your assets and liabilities are.
They want you to prove it.
And you sign it under oath of perjury that what you're writing down is true. And then, so we hand it back up to the judge. He takes a look at it. The judge can do one of three things. He can say, sir, you own 50 acres free and clear. I'm not going to give you a lawyer. And sometimes people will do that. They'll have a lot of money in the bank or a house paid for, and the judge
don't want to pay a lawyer.
They just don't.
They're greedy in their top wallets.
Or sometimes people come up there and they just don't have a red cent, and the judge will say, I'm appointing the public defender. There's no fee. But a lot of people fit a third category. They may work, but they've got a lot of bills. And the judge may say, I can see you can't get enough together to go hire your own lawyer, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to appoint the public defender, but I'm going to have you pay a fee, administrative fee, back to the court of so much a week or so much a month to help pay back some. And that work, I don't get it. They pay the clerk, and then the clerk sends it on back to Nashville, because the taxpayers ultimately pay for my office.
It's public assistance.
But I believe it's like the old saying: "For man can work, he ought to." Well, if you can help pay for your lawyer, you ought to.
Yes, you.
Oh yeah.
And it puts a little skin in the game for them as well. That maybe take it a little more seriously. And then we would be off and running, And if
I like that too. I didn't really know that.
I believe that this is a necessary cog in the system that provides judicial rights to people.
It does.
I compare it to a three-legged stool. The judiciary, the judge is one leg, and the police and DA, the prosecution leg, it's an important leg as well. But you need that defense leg for that stool to stand up as well. And I don't know one person who says someone doesn't deserve a fair hearing, or they, be able to present their side of the case.
No.
Because, there's always more than one side of every story.
I know, and yes, that's a good. I say that all the time, just in life in general.
And I've also heard, there's three sides to every story: yours, and mine, and the cold hard truth. But that's why we have juries. I'm a big believer in the jury system. I would rather 12 men and women from the community get to decide my fate. Right. Than just one person in a robe. I'm not knocking the judges, but I want all that collective common sense and knowledge these people have as a group to go in there and hash it out.
Absolutely.
One thing you have said that I have listened to that I enjoyed hearing from your lips was that you said you enjoyed what you did.
That triggered with me too, because
I'm passionate about what I do.
Well, if you have to go to work and you detest what you're doing, you're not going to do the good job that you would do if you enjoyed it.
That's a good point.
It just makes sense.
Now don't get me wrong. There's days you feel like you're ready to pinch somebody's head.
Of course.
We all have our days.
Mm-hmm.
But the example I gave recently, because we're very involved in trying to get people out of their addiction issues, because that's the driver of most of the crime.
Well, that's most of the cases.
It really is. And honestly, most of your thefts and domestic violence and things like that go right back into that. So if we can help someone, I'm in the Lions Club in Dunlap, and we were taking up at Christmas time, and I was in front of one of the stores with my bucket and my vest on, and a fella came up to me, and he goes, "You remember me, Mr. Harmon?" And he told me his name, and I said, "Well, yeah, it's been like 20, 25 years. And he said, "I wanted to let you know, I appreciate your helping me. And I haven't been in trouble since then." And he had a 10-year-old boy with him. And he goes, "This is my son, and I've stayed out of trouble since then. And I'm going to let you know how important that was to me." And he dropped a $20 bill in my bucket. Wow. And I knew for him that was a boatload of money.
Yeah.
And that made my day. Makes my hair stand up on my arms, because that's why I do it.
Yeah.
If you can get somebody, help themselves.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these folks grew up and they just didn't have the raising that I was lucky enough to have.
I mean, I've worked in it a long time. Like, a lot of people are really not bad people, and
you get so
feeling for a lot of them. You do.
Can you imagine if you were in the teaching profession? And you got to see a kid that you had in school succeed?
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of similar. It's very similar.
The feeling that you have that you might have contributed something to that child's success?
Yeah.
You're right. Look, all of us through our lives have been one bad decision away from ruining our lives.
You're right.
And people, as we said earlier, people remember the worst thing you ever did. And so if you can help people who get off track get back on track. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe there's a debt to be paid when you do wrong. I'm not. Oh yeah. I'm not saying it's all roses and rainbows.
No.
But if all we're going to do, say, with people with drug addictions, is simply warehouse them, and which we're paying for it. And then they get right back out and do the same thing. We haven't gained a whole lot.
It doesn't help.
And I would like to give credit to the local judges and the local DA's office. They work with me that if we can get someone into and I'm talking year-long, long-term rehab, they're good about signing a furlough to, it goes off maybe to another state.
Yeah.
And they go through, they get away from the bad influences and those habits.
Gives them a chance.
It gives them a chance. Not everyone is successful.
Right.
But everyone who is, that's one more person.
And they deserve that chance.
And they deserve the chance.
Absolutely.
And it's like I say, if you can get someone, get them out of that life, working, paying taxes, being productive member of society, and they come home after a hard day's work, they're too tired to go get into mischief.
That's right. That's right. That's a good point.
Think about it.
I go to Bible study at our church 4 mornings a week, and we have a Bible study with inmates from the jail. Sometimes those fellas have served their time and they get out.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you what all of them are in there for, but it's a common denominator.
Thank you for that.
Sometimes when they get out, they go back into the same atmosphere that got them there.
Yeah.
And you're asking for repetition. But if you can send them to somewhere where they can get rehabilitated and they don't go back into that same atmosphere.
A good rehab is not just, well, don't do drugs. It's to give the person skills to deal with the temptation and those situations when they arise. It's like, okay, now what are you going to do when that old buddy pulls up?
Right.
Are you going to jump? Are you going to jump back in that car?
Right.
Exactly. They're not really your buddy.
No.
But if you learn to where it's like, I'm sick and tired of that life. Man,
look what it cost
me. You roll on out of here. I'm here.
Right.
I got a job now, and I've got a house now, and I'm on the board of the drug court in this district, and it's a 2-year program, and it is housed in Franklin County. So although we keep slots open for people on the north end of the district, not as many folks want because you have to move over there. But of the people who complete the 2-year cycle program, it's either 82 or 84% success rate. They don't reoffend, and in that world, that's a huge number.
That's big.
It's big, and so that's a lot more of what we do than you would think. Is deal with drug problems.
Yeah, I mean, people don't really know everything that y'all have to deal with. It's a lot more than what you realize.
It's
really
a lot more than just being in the courtroom.
Yes, it is, and that's the part they don't realize.
Well, you opened my eyes, and I thought I pretty well understood, but you opened my eyes, and I'm glad you were here today.
Yeah, you brought some good points. And how long though have you been the public defender? It's been a while.
Phil Condra, who was the original public defender in this district, ran into him at a restaurant like in 1992. I mean, my baby Katie had just been born, and who's turned 30 now, and he said, would you ever think of coming to work for me? And honestly, I'd never really given it. I was in then Greer and Smith, a good 2-man firm in Dunlap, and I was happy there. They were happy with me, and it was for some reason you're talking about feeling called. This person's the right person, and it just felt right. That it just went. I think, and I talked to my wife, and I said, I like where I'm at, but this just feels like I should do this.
Yeah.
And for 18 years, I went to Phil and essentially was like, I'll give you 5 years. Right. And I thought, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to commit. And then suddenly 18 years had gone by. And Phil had, I didn't know what he was doing then, but the last several years before he retired, he was pulling me in on the decision making about, should we hire this, should we spend money this way?
He was preparing you.
I did not know at the time that's exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then he told me one day, he said, it's time for me to retire. It's time for me to go.
Wow.
And I want you to succeed me. And I'm like, Phil, stay. You're doing a good. And he said, no, I appreciate what you're saying, and I don't feel like you're pushing me out the door, but this is what I would like to do. So he actually went to the governor and recommended me. And the governor, if there's a vacancy, makes an appointment. And
was it McWhorter at that time?
It was actually Bredesen.
I knew to be one of them.
So Phil, who was governor at the time, and made the recommendation. And weeks went by, and Phil's retirement was effective January 1, and we didn't hear anything. We're like, okay, I'm still going to the office and working, going to court. And then my daughter Katie, that I mentioned, called me at the office, and she said, Dad? And I said, yeah, honey. And she said, Governor Bredesen just called me. I gave him your number. And I said, that's good. And so...
That's real good.
And so she gave me his number, and so, which was unusual to call the governor, but he was very kind, and he said, we just had to do our due diligence. I said, I understand it. He asked, and I accepted.
Yeah.
And then I had, when you're appointed midterm, the next regular 2-year election, you have to run. And so I was in for a little over a year, and then had to run in 2012 to finish the last 2 years of Phil Condra's term.
Okay, so that's when it
And but then it was a bit of an adventure, because
I bet.
Leading into that, I had been diagnosed with a very rare bone marrow disorder. That actually was a terminal condition, and we kind of kept it quiet. So 2012 was also the same year
Yeah.
that we went to Vanderbilt for a bone marrow transplant. Thank the good Lord.
It
10
worked.
years out, my brother was a full match, and I'm doing well. So I was in Nashville. It used to be sort of boy in the plastic bubble when you had that.
Right.
They are so advanced now. We did it outpatient. We had to live in an
way.
lived in an apartment for 4 months, about 2 miles away. But I had to be careful, and the chemo took the hair, even less hair than I have now. But it was unpleasant, but it went as well as it could go.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I was unopposed during that race.
Oh, that took some stress off.
It took some stress off. I just had to worry about not dying.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't need nothing else on you then.
And Judge Smith, local circuit judge who just retired at the end of June, came to Nashville with his wife and stood on the other side of the room. And I was wearing my mask, but he swore me in our apartment up there. And then that was for the last 2 years of Phil Condra's term. And then in 2014, I had to run again for a full 8-year term. Judges, DAs, chancellors, and public defenders have 8-year terms. And that was in 2014.
A lot of people don't know that either.
Because most people have a 4-year term.
Exactly.
Ours is 8. And I told everyone.
Did you have to run against somebody that time?
Thank the good Lord, no.
Oh, okay.
That was fortunate. And but I was telling everyone at that time, I said, look, at the end of I do intend to run one last time to have the years to retire.
Yeah.
But I let everyone know that that will be the last time. And I've told everyone that thing I said earlier about not wanting politics in the court.
Yes.
Because I was appointed by Governor Bredesen, I was somewhat obligated to run as a Democrat. Now, I like 80% of the people my age around here, I was raised as an old Southern Democrat.
Well, we need to emphasize that, and I tell every Democrat that comes on the show, because the liberals about run it for that party. It's terrible.
I think of myself as having Tennessee values.
Exactly.
And my values have stayed the same.
Exactly.
The National Party has moved out from under me.
I said maybe last week even, I wish the Democrat Party would just stand up and literally kick them out.
And
because
I'm much more
Democrats. Most Democrats are really not like that.
Look,
they're not that extreme.
You're correct.
Yeah.
And so, but I told everyone I'm running nonpartisan. The last time I run, I just don't like the whole political thing, and I've stuck to my word. People,
I like that.
I had some friends beg me to run with an R after my name. Jeff, you'd be a shoo-in. Just do it.
And that's I said is why.
But I said, guys, I gave my word. I said I'm not running. I don't like that thought of politics in the courtroom. So I'm running nonpartisan, and that's.
So you're running as basically independent.
As an independent.
I like that.
No part.
Yeah.
It makes it tough, but I'm running as me.
That's all you can be.
The reason you're still in the issue is because the mantle was passed down to you.
It was.
Right.
And you chose to accept that mantle.
Exactly.
I was asked to run. To succeed my boss. He asked me to do it.
They picked you out.
Yeah, he did. He was preparing for it.
In the Bible, Elijah told Elisha, I'm going to retire and you're going to take my place if you see me leave. If you see me leave.
Yeah.
Well, God sent a chariot of fire to pick up Elijah and take him to heaven.
Wow.
When he picked him up, his mantle fell off.
His cloak.
And Elisha picked it up. And Elisha didn't know if he got a double portion of Elijah's spirit or not, which is what he wanted.
That's what he asked for.
Oh.
And he went to the water and put that mantle to the water and it divided. He knew he got the double portion of Elijah.
Wow.
The mantle was passed down to him from his successor. And
literally.
You have
literally
in you, buddy.
Well, now Phil Condra did not leave in a chariot of fire. He still lives just south of Dunlap, and I'm not Elijah that I walk across on dry ground. But that was kind of you. Thank you for that.
Well, Jeff, before we do trivia,
okay,
and I got a good lifeline today, folks. By the way, because if y'all remember, he was on Jeopardy a few years ago and actually won a few times. He was on there for 3 nights.
I was.
So that's just cool. I remember watching it though too, and somebody from Dunlap, was all rooting for you. A bunch of people were, but you done good on there.
I got lucky, and I got out of there before they changed their mind.
Right. That's a cool experience.
I have tried at that point more since that I had tried a little over 200 jury trials through the years leading up to that, and some of those are big cases and nervous. But being on Jeopardy was as scared as I've ever been. I told your granddad earlier that I know why they have the tall podiums, so they don't see your knees knocking.
That is so true. That is so true.
But I would say this: it's similar to a trial. I've always said the worst part of a trial is the drive to the courthouse.
Yeah,
because you're thinking about it. But once the bailiff says "all rise," you just sort of own.
That's right.
Once I was scared to death, but once the questions came up, it got a lot easier because you get to focus on something.
Yeah, you don't start thinking about all that stuff.
The other stuff.
Then you're in your realm.
There you go.
And that's why because trust me, there's some guests that have been on here that were absolutely terrified of the camera. So that's why we started, like we always try to make them just have fun and feel welcome and let their guard down. And they always end up, glad that they don't.
Well, there's a lot of laughter in here, which I like.
And we want to make them feel welcome and have fun. That's that's the whole point, really. And but I do want you to get out your message though. Like, before we do trivia,
sure.
Is there anything you want to say to the voters?
Well, I believe in what I do. I love my job. I show up every day trying to make a difference. I don't always make a difference, but I sure do try. And when I can help people, that feels so good. And don't get me wrong, I respect law enforcement. I have compassion for victims. And I know everyone is going through a tough time.
Yeah.
But if we can come out of it with the best outcome that we can, that's what we're trying to do. I am not going to speak. There is a young man from Ray County running against me. I am not going to go negative, speak ill of him. I will say this.
People do like that too.
I have 3 times the experience he does. But he has a lot of potential.
If
he wants to run in 8 years, he may have enough in. But I live and practice in this district, and I like the people here. I think the people know me, and I hope my reputation is such that they feel confident in voting for me one more time. I would appreciate that.
That was well said. Well said. All right, Mr. J. I have the great lifeline today.
This is when I'll lock up. You wait and see.
I wish I had made them harder.
No, I'm actually afraid.
I'm glad you did.
Because I don't know what's in your notebook.
I know it.
You better not know.
No, I don't.
Sometimes they're extremely hard, and sometimes they're easy. You never know, Papa.
All right, we're going to go to baseball.
Okay.
A hurler's, which is the pitcher, his stat is 3 letters. His stats that measures the success of a hurler, a pitcher in a baseball game.
And
what does he live and die for?
Do you know?
He's going to pitch.
Oh, well, I'm calling.
Maybe. No, you go. You get to go first. But
oh crap!
Now, I think I know.
I know what you're talking about.
It's not the one-loss average. It's not the one-loss record. But you measure a pitcher's success on 3 letters.
3 letters?
And they stand for 3 words.
So it's not going to have nothing to do with a strike or a ball or...
No.
Okay,
what determines the outcome of a ball game?
Runs.
The runs.
Yeah.
So what does the pitcher depend on?
Strikeouts. No. Go ahead. Give me a break. Okay, I'm listening.
Me?
Please say it. Mr.
ERA.
Jeopardy. Thank you.
Earned run average.
Earned run average.
Got you.
If that pitcher's record is 12-6, but his earned run average is 1.0,
which is great.
That's the man you want to be in the ball
Right,
game.
that's true.
Lower the better.
I have heard of it, but it would not come to me for love or money.
All right, the cousin of ASAP, as soon as possible. 3 letters.
A cousin of ASAP, 3 letters. Oh my God.
I want you to do it. 3 letters.
What a clue. I tell you, what a clue.
I want you to.
And I'm kind of locking up here.
I guess so.
Yeah. Now I know how you feel. It's like,
ASAP stands for as soon as possible. What else would be as soon as possible that you've heard? I want you to do something
now.
All right.
That's 3 letters.
That's a word. That's a word. This is 3 letters for 3 words.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. In my defense, I did not know that.
As soon as possible. How else can you say that? I want you to do it.
I'm thinking post haste, but that's not a.
P is
PDQ,
part of it.
PDQ or something? I don't know.
What'd you say?
PDQ?
Yeah. What does that stand for?
I have no idea.
Pretty
darn quick.
Pretty darn quick. Okay. I've always heard the PDQ, but I didn't.
ASAP, PDQ. I want you to do it pretty darn quick.
I've never in my whole life heard that.
You never heard that?
No. I promise.
That's my problem. I'm assuming that everybody out here that's listening is my age.
Vintage.
Yeah, there you go.
A chalky mineral.
Run that by me again.
A chalky, CHALKY, mineral. And it's used in baby powder.
It's used in baby powder. Good Lord, Papa. I feel like I'm on Jeopardy today.
It's actually called a certain kind of powder.
Oh, but it's not baby powder, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's not the answer.
You're right there.
Can you give me another clue?
Starts with a T.
That's a good clue.
And listen, there is a lawsuit right now
Yeah, well, I know.
on television.
Correct. It's in the commercials.
Millions and billions.
I'm going to be mad because I know what you're talking about, but I cannot think of the name.
Well, you're
I wish you'd do multiple choice.
Your lifeline knows.
I'm calling my. Thank God you're here today.
Talcum.
Man.
Talcum powder.
Oh, yeah.
Talc is the mineral.
I knew I'd be mad
It's
when I heard it. I know.
Okay. If you're on a boat.
Yeah.
And you want to go toward shelter.
I want to go towards shelter. I'm on a boat.
Nautical term for getting to shelter.
You are killing me today. Literally,
These
with
are
these
hard.
clues. They are hard and a nautical
term.
Swim to shelter?
No. It's a reference to the shelter when you get there.
An island?
Well, an island could be the place of shelter, but the term.
This is apparently I don't know any of your terms today.
I don't know that I mean, I'm just thinking of taking the ship to the harbor, but that's not what you're after.
ALEE.
ALEE. What does that spell?
Ali.
Ali.
Yep.
I've learned something.
Oh, wow.
You learned it from me?
I learned it from you. I have not heard that.
A short snooze.
A nap.
A nap.
That's it. It's a nap.
But what's a short nap?
I don't know, but I still got it right, folks.
A cat nap.
Oh, yeah.
Cat nap.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The part of a kite that's the biggest part of the kite.
A string? Of course not.
The string would be, but the string is not part of the kite. You attach the string to the kite. And the string can be as long as you need it to be, as long as that kite stays in flight.
Well, it's been a long time since I've had a kite in
what
flight.
part of the kite has the longest part to it?
Can it be multiple choice? Do you know Lifeline?
I'm thinking of the tail of the kite.
The
but,
tail.
Okay, I did.
Well, that's what I was. I guess that's what I meant to say, but I said string. But I was.
When I was a boy, we made kites.
You tied a.
Yeah.
And you
something
put a
onto
tail on the kite.
Yeah.
Just for sight.
It kept it from spinning.
Yeah.
You know, it kept.
I just said it wrong. I mean, I've done that, but the tail.
A baby deer is called a.
No.
No,
That's female.
deer.
It's female.
Bambi was one.
What?
A baby deer. There's only one term.
I know. I just can't think of it. Fawn.
Yeah.
Finally. Woo.
Last question.
Good. Woo. Lord.
If you're in Mexico and you are the lowest laborer, what is your term that uses you? What term identifies you as being a lowly laborer in Mexico?
I mean, I've been to Mexico quite a few times, but I apparently never saw whatever this is.
And we use Mexican laborers here in Bledsoe County.
Yeah, to pick tomatoes a lot of times.
Well, we
on
depend on
farms.
their back to be able to stand more than
Yeah,
American.
Yeah,
But that's the reason we use them for doing chores that we choose not to do.
right. So Mexico does the same thing as
What do you call that man that works hard and probably gets less?
right.
Starts with a P.
God, your clothes have been terrible today. I don't know.
Your
Lifeline?
Your lifeline knows.
Peon.
Peon.
Oh, well, that makes sense. That one actually makes sense, yes. I really swear, I think we just had the Jeopardy edition of Albert's
He whipped me
trivia.
on Ali.
I mean, man, that were tough.
When I started work in 1953, I was in Dayton, Ohio, working for National Cash Register.
Uh-huh.
We got a break for vacation, and we came back to Pikeville. I
Yeah.
was offered a job here, and Carolyn said, "We'll take it."
Yeah, I remember that. She answered for
Supposed
you.
to come home.
And she wanted to come home. She was just 16 years old. I robbed the crowd.
Oh, you did.
But that job only lasted 4 months, so then I was out of work.
No.
The job that I took and I kept for years, I was I was a lowly peon in the system. I worked in
At
a grocery
first.
business as a delivery boy.
You'd start working your way up.
He
I
literally
finally got to be
did.
manager, but
I was about to say, he went from
it took a while.
peon to head honcho
But I was the peon
at first.
because
Yeah.
I made $5 a day, and people would come in and buy their groceries, and
That
the
sounds
woman
so
would
crazy
say,
to me.
the woman would
$5
say,
a day.
"I'm going to the beauty shop, put my ice cream in the freezer, and put my milk in the refrigerator."
God.
And I did that for years.
It's all it's like I was saying earlier, all you knew was work.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
Well, I will say that $5 a day. It is funny just to hear it like that, but obviously the cost of living wasn't so crazy as it is now.
Gas was 27 cents a gallon. Cigarettes were a penny a piece.
He got to live in the good old days.
Cigarettes were a penny a piece.
A penny.
Kids could come from the school when we worked at the convenience store. Kids could come from school, from grammar school,
Yeah.
and buy a cigarette.
What?
Kids.
Are you kidding me?
And the man that owned the store would sell them a cigarette for a penny.
Dang, I did not know
Any brand
that.
of cigarettes they wanted, he'd open a pack up and give them one cigarette.
Boy, those days are over.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
It's hard to top that one.
I've got some experience along the way.
There,
You
indeed.
did. Well, Jeff, you were a great guest today, man.
I've had a
for
blast.
stopping
This
by.
has been a lot of fun.
I
I appreciate
know.
your having me.
You'll have to come back and see us
We'll do it.
sometime. Absolutely.
I'm glad I got to meet you, Jeff.
Well, I'm glad I got to. And I have
Oh.
Bledsoe County connections. My dad and his
Yeah.
family were raised in the Brayton community, so I've
Out on the
been
mountain.
out on the mountain.
Yeah,
I've
on Brayton Mountain.
been up there quite a bit through my life. So
I bet.
We
Beautiful
ran the roller
place.
store out to Brayton one day.
Beautiful place.
Now I grew up on Cagle Mountain above Dunlap, and I've caught the rolling store many times. We call it the store truck.
Store truck.
It would
He-
back
I've
up.
never heard that
And we
terminology.
would carry our
Makes
Coke
sense.
bottles that we'd picked up,
Yeah.
and you could give them that, and he'd tell you how much candy or firecrackers you could get.
Man,
we had
I
a
wish I was
barrel of
around
kerosene
during
on
these
the
days.
truck. We took chickens. We took eggs.
hmm
People that lived
I
on
remember
those
they had,
farms.
they had a milk cooler too. Yeah, yeah. We were thrilled. It ran on Thursdays in the summertime at my grandmother's house, and we'd line up for it. We loved it.
It was an experience. I had to drive the rolling store a lot of days. The men would be sick or something, and I'd have to drive the rolling store. But we would go into people's homes where there was no road. We just drove right through the woods, and when it was raining, it was slick, and we'd get stuck, and we'd have to get an axe, and we'd cut down little saplings and throw them under the wheels, and we'd come out of that.
You earned your $5 a day.
Boy, I reckon. Yeah, it don't seem like much when you go through all that, does it?
That's my wife worked with me every day.
That she did.
47
she sure
years
did.
while we were in the grocery business.
And I'm trying to find, before we go to a commercial break, the voting.
Early voting?
Early voting and all that stuff.
I bet Jeff knows.
I just saw it, so
July
I'm hoping he does.
15th, week from today through July 30. And then Election Day is August 4th.
The big one's August 4th. But they can early vote July 30th through
15th through 30th.
15th through the 30th,
yes.
right? And then Election Day, folks, is August the 4th. Get out and vote. You can't really complain if you don't vote.
You're right. It's important.
Yeah.
Matt Colvard said when he was a guest here, he said, I don't care whether you vote for me or not, but vote.
Go vote.
That is true.
Go vote.
It's one of your rights.
There's too many people that
it's a
don't.
precious right.
It is. It is. So get out and vote. And remember Mr. Harmon here as a public defender.
I wouldn't say no.
Well, we are glad you joined us today, Jeff. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
No problem, buddy. And we'll be right back, folks, after the break for some sports and some, well, we've already heard a lot of Albertology, if you ask me. But we'll have some more coming up next, right after the break.
And some jokes.
Of course, of course.
Welcome to the Dunlap Mercantile, located in the heart of the beautiful Sequatchie Valley at 15664 Rankin Avenue in Dunlap, Tennessee. Stop in today for some Mayfield ice cream or a cup of community coffee, and if you're interested in renting this venue for your event, call 423-949-2552. Stay tuned to DunlapMercantile.com for concerts and events coming to the Dunlap Mercantile in 2021. God bless.
Welcome back, folks, to the Albert and Billy Show here on Channel 18, BTC Fiber TV. And don't forget to check us out on BTC Fiber YouTube. I forgot this part in the introduction, Papa. Go to BTC Fiber YouTube channel, folks. Get on there and subscribe. The magic number is 1,000, and we're getting painfully close. So please get on there and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it. And as I said, you can watch every episode of the Albert and Billy Show on there, and you can watch all the original shows of BTC Fiber on their YouTube channel. So check it out, folks. Be sure to like and subscribe. We do appreciate it.
Yes.
We also appreciate our sponsors. I'll have to go through them quickly today, but here they are. And I'll say thank you ahead of time. Thank you to the following people: Citizens Tri-County Bank, Bilberry Insurance, Scotty's, the offices of Emma Boynton, Lisa Wheeler, and Michael Walker, Farm Bureau Insurance, the campaign of Matt Colvard, who was a guest here last week. Nickel Row Antiques, our next door neighbor. Literally, if you've not been here, you need to come and check it out, folks. It is unique. It's a unique antique store.
She's got about a dozen vendors that have wares in here for sale.
Yeah, and if you want, you can talk to them about even setting up something to be a vendor if you'd like.
She has a list waiting.
Oh, she has a waiting list. Well, that's good.
Get your name on the list.
That means, yeah, that's a good thing. Also thinking about Massengale and his friendly staff at Farm Bureau Insurance. Nick Smith at State Farm Insurance. Also thanks to you guys. Gibbs Pools, Morgan Brothers, and also the venue and Bankwalker Brewery. Mill Dam Outdoor Adventures.
Yes.
The Country Gospel Bluegrass Showcase Sunday. It's Lola's, Collier and Company Realty, Remax Realtors, Cindy Nipper, Dexter's Barbershop, The Butter Dish, Lee Station Baptist Church, and Southern Pearl Florist, Home Decor, and Gifts. Whew, that's a mouthful. Thanks to all of you, though.
We gotta have those. We gotta have those.
Yeah. So, Papa, let's talk about the wild world of sports for a minute here.
Well, I've been watching some excellent tennis being
I
played.
too, yeah. Wimbledon, the granddaddy of them all.
Is that about a 2-week event?
Yes, every major is 2 weeks, that's for sure.
I think the men's finals will be Sunday.
Yeah, the men's is Sunday, the women's is tomorrow. That's correct. And it's been a wild Wimbledon.
You told me Nadal had to withdraw.
I hate that. I hate it for Taylor Fritz though too, because he got kind of robbed of the chance. Like, there was no semifinal at all for that match because Nadal had to pull out right after beating him. But for Nadal to pull out means he was in pain, because he's a trooper. He would do it if he could.
But now Djokovic played today.
Did he beat the British guy today?
He won the. He
British
only
guy won a set,
lost
didn't he?
one set.
Yeah.
He won 3 sets in a row.
To take a set off Djokovic though is a accomplishment.
He beat Djokovic 6-2 in that first set.
Oh wow! I bet that crowd was loving it.
And the last set was 6-4.
Okay, well, he was competitive.
He was competitive.
And as I told you, I'd never heard of him, but those people had to be very proud of him for making the semifinals.
Oh, yes.
In Great Britain.
The Dodgers are still in first place in baseball, and the Braves are in second place in baseball.
The Braves defending champions, not off to much of a defending champ start.
Milwaukee is in first place in their division.
Okay.
Central division. I want to mention one thing in sports. Brittany Griner has been detained in Russia since February for having possession of drugs.
Well, I never heard what it was, though. I don't think they said.
They elaborated on television this week. She pled guilty to the charges, but it was a ploy. What her legal representative told her, you go ahead and plead guilty, and it will be an effort for us to swap you with some of the detainees in the United States that are Russians that they want to get released.
Yes.
So her wife appeared on television this week, Brittany Griner's wife.
I know she's married again.
It showed a woman, and they said it was her wife.
And
she is appealing to the President of the United States to work behind the scenes to try to get her released.
Good luck with that.
But I would say...
He can't even finish a sentence, let alone do that.
She has facing her, since she's pled guilty, a 10-year sentence.
Oh my. They'd give her bad advice.
Well,
or something.
But the representatives that suggested she do this, they were saying your chances of being released is better if you admit you're guilty, so that they can try to get the swap going on between the ones that we have over here. And she's not the only one over there that they want released either.
I'm sure, but she's a professional athlete. That's going to get some headlines.
Also, Wednesday night in church, our pastor asked a question: how much did LeBron James make last year?
Too much. I don't know how much, but
I don't know why
too much.
I don't know why he brought up this subject, but anyway, someone looked it up on their phone. They said $42.1 million.
Honestly, it's ridiculous what they make. And it's even more ridiculous when you see them get on there and whine and complain about it. It's like, really, dude? Nobody wants to hear that. I will say on Wimbledon, though, you left out the women. Ons Jabeur, who is from Tunisia, a very small country in Africa. She's making history at this Wimbledon. No woman from that country's ever been anywhere close to where she is now.
Well, isn't she going to be in the finals?
She's in the finals.
Yeah.
And I watched her. They've been talking about her a lot. and I'm glad I did. And you need to watch her in the championships tomorrow morning. This girl has every shot in the book. She don't just get out there and hit it as hard as she can like so many do. She's strategic. She can do the drop shot, lots and lots of top spin on it. But on grass, she's lethal because those drop shots, that ball just dies. They can't get to none of them. And the girl she's playing has also never been in the finals. She upset Simona Halep yesterday, played the match of her life. She's from a small country.
I did watch that.
Yeah, that girl couldn't miss, could she? Rabakina was her last name.
I thought Halep would win.
She was heavily favored. She's a former champ. So anyway, that's the championship tomorrow, and we're here, so I can't keep up with Djokovic won. It'll be Djokovic against Kyrgios in the final, and watching him just entertainment in itself. You'll see.
I believe Djokovic will be favored.
Absolutely.
He's seeded number 1, is he not?
Yes.
And you know what? Djokovic has been in 8 Wimbledon finals. He has a record of 7-1.
Ooh,
7-1.
Good. I didn't know that.
So he's in his 9th Wimbledon final.
I think that only loss in was to Federer, so there's no shame in that. That's amazing.
They introduced Roger Federer the other day.
I was glad to see that. A lot of former champs come out.
Man, that was something else.
It really was.
Okay.
Now
I want to say just a couple of Albertology.
Oh yeah.
Before I get to the jokes.
I wasn't meaning not to do it at all. So now we're on to Albertology, folks.
This week last week I was shut in because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I've always heard there's 2 things sure: death and taxes. Have you not ever heard that?
Yeah.
Well,
I wasn't expecting it.
A fella said there are 3 things for sure.
Oh.
And I perked up my ears. I have new hearing aids now, so I wanted to hear what the third thing was: death and taxes. He said, "In your car breaking down."
Boy, is that the truth?
So then he gave an advertisement for some kind of a company that would fix your car for you. No, you've got to buy insurance against your car breaking down.
That's pretty good.
Here's 3 sayings that Albert wants you to hear.
All right, Albert, let's hear them.
This is from Margaret Atwood. She said, "In the end, we all become stories." I wonder what will be told about me.
A lot. But a lot of good stuff.
No one is really gone who is remembered.
Oh, wow, that's deep. That's deep.
I still think of Carolyn.
Of course you do.
I still dream of Carolyn. I have pictures all over the house, in my bedroom and in the family room and in the living room. I have pictures of Carolyn.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know.
Any women
I miss her too.
that I've invited into my house, they have to contend with Carolyn's pictures.
Well, I think they should understand it. I mean, that was obviously the love of your life.
I've talked to some women that no longer wear their wedding bands, that don't have their
not everybody does that.
They don't have the picture of their husband in their house anymore.
Not everybody had the relationship though that you and they had either. You gotta look at it that way. It's kind of
special. I never, to this day, and I'm 87. She's been dead 8 years. It
don't seem like it, but yeah.
But I can never figure out why she picked me out.
She knew though.
She knew what?
I don't know, but she was, she made up her mind and that was it though.
If God leads you, this is the third saying, if God leads you to it, He will lead you through it.
Oh, I've heard that now. I like that one.
You've heard that?
Yeah. Believe it or not, I've heard of those. Now, your trivia was, whew. Those were a little bit better. Trivia was brutal today.
The trivia wasn't it?
Yeah. I felt like Jeff was on Jeopardy again.
All right, I'm going to tell you a joke or 2.
Well, you better. Yeah, our fans will be mad at us if we don't do that.
As the hedge fund manager got out of his brand new Porsche, Porsche or
yeah.
Porsche?
either. Porsche is what I'll say.
A truck goes racing by, taking off the door
Ooh,
of his brand new car. And he says,
Wow.
my Porsche, my beautiful silver Porsche is ruined, he screams. A police officer came on the scene, and he shakes his head in disgust. And he says, I can't believe you. You're so focused on your possessions that you didn't even realize your left arm was taken off too. But now listen, that's not all the joke.
You're kidding me.
The hedge fund manager then looks down at his left arm that's not there anymore, and he says, oh no, my Rolex!
That's a good one.
The car's gone.
All he cared about was his
My
car.
car's torn up, and now my Rolex is gone.
He
Take
didn't
with
care
my
about
arm.
his arm. Wow, talk about having any priorities mixed up.
I just got diagnosed as colorblind. I didn't expect that. It came to me out of the purple.
Those two were good. We're off to a good start. You can do we'll do 3 more if you got them, or just 2 if you don't. It's gonna be hard to top those 2, isn't it?
Tina Turner said this.
Oh, is it a joke? Just so I can remind the fans, the viewers, and listeners.
I don't think that's too
Okay.
funny.
We're gonna end on a funny note. I know you got at least one more joke in you. Come on, one more.
Well, some of these are not as funny as that.
Yeah, those 2 were good.
Listen to this one.
Okay, you found one.
Entrepreneur and adventurer Richard Branson.
Uh-huh.
He founded Virgin Atlantic Airways. He says,
Oh.
this is what I would give my advice to thrill seekers. If you're embarking around the world in a hot air balloon,
Ugh.
don't forget the toilet paper. Once we had to wait for incoming faxes. That would be sad.
That would be sad. You got that right. That could be a bad situation.
And
you found one more?
This actually took place when I was in grammar school.
It did. No.
Kids had lice.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Kids had lice.
Guess what? They still do. That problem hasn't went away.
You know, you can still buy medicine for lice.
Absolutely.
But when I was in grammar school, it was pretty common stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember ever having lice. But anyway,
I'm knock on wood. I hadn't either. But yeah, a lot of people have had to get it from
But
school.
lice was detected on my grandson Ryan's school. And the teacher told the girls in Ryan's first grade class to wear their hair in a bun to discourage the lice.
Okay.
So Ryan needed clarification, and he said, a hot dog bun or a hamburger bun?
Don't worry about that lice and all. Well, those are pretty good. You found.
I got one more.
One more. All right.
These are crazy things people say when they're asleep.
Oh.
Crazy things people say when they're asleep. Just last week, my 8-year-old daughter rolled over in my bed where she'd fallen asleep.
Yeah.
And she said, I want a pizza and a beer. 8-year-old?
I bet you woke up quick.
I'd whip her.
Yeah. But after I laughed for a little bit, I would. That's pretty random.
And she grinned. 8 years old.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Papa. You've been on the road with the jokes lately, I'll have to say. Those first 2. They're really good. We want to thank our special guest today, Mr. Jeff Harmon, for joining us. Remember, early voting is July 15th through the 30th. Election day is August the 4th. And we also like to thank you guys for tuning in today on WAT Radio and watching us on Channel 18 BTC Fiber TV and also BTC Fiber YouTube channel. And one more time, get on there and subscribe. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate all you guys for all the love and support that we get. We are very,
yes, we do.
Very grateful.
And we appreciate the telephone company for filming us.
Absolutely. And we will see you guys next week for another all-new episode. Until then, so long, folks. Have a
see
great
you later.
week.
Thank you, Brody.
Hey folks, Albert and Billy here. You're watching us on Channel 18 BTC Fiber. Check us out on BTC Fiber YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and like. And check out our Facebook page. Be sure to like and share. Thanks everybody for watching.